it's Richard Barrett here for Guitarist magazine, and I'd like to show you the Fender Player Plus Strat and the Tele here. So we have what most vintage purists would agree is a fairly standard spec with a few tweaks. When I say standard spec, I mean no humbucker in the bridge or locking tremolo or anything like that. So let me talk you through. At the top we have locking tuners. So that is going to help with the tuning. Truss rod adjustment at the top of the neck, so you don't have to take the neck off and adjust it like you do on the vintage models. A synthetic bone nut, and this neck is a modern C shape, so it's a compromise between having a comfortable handful of neck, but it's not massive. It's not a big baseball bat cut in half or anything like that. This model is topped with a 12-inch radius. That's unusually flat for Fender, gives you a lower choke-free action. A 12-inch radius fretboard, 22 frets, and these are medium jumbo. The edges of the fretboard are very carefully rolled as well. The fretboard material, as you may be able to see, is not rosewood, it's palferro. Right, that is bolted securely to an older body, and this is finished in opal spark. We have the 3 single coil pickups. Now, before I go any further with saying single coil pickups, I should point out that they're noiseless single coil pickups. More about that in a minute, and I'll play some bits of music for you to have a listen. 5-way selector, 2-point vibrato, whammy, tremolo, whatever you want to call it. So that gives you a slightly wider, more modern feel, slightly easier to work with. Solid steel saddles and a push-pull pot here on what was traditionally the middle pickup. This actually works on the bridge pickup, so you can add the neck pickup in a bridge position or have all 3 pickups on in position 2. Like I say, I'll talk through that and play in a minute. Now, these noiseless pickups, they are the Player Plus noiseless, so perhaps that means that they're exclusive to this guitar. They look very much like some of the noiseless pickups on other models. I think that has pretty much talked through the specs, so I'll play you some little bites. Let's go with the neck pickup. Everything up straight into the studio's Vox AC15C1. I'm going to add some drive with a tube screamer in a minute. Let's have a listen. Like you'd expect. Then let's go neck and middle. The middle. Okay, middle and bridge. And bridge. Fender's website doesn't say whether the bridge pickup is actually a little bit meatier than the others, but I get the feeling that it is, and most modern sets do just have a couple of extra windings on the bridge pickup. Now, these aren't super loud pickups, but they do have plenty of that chiming stratness to them. Nice thing about it is, though, that you don't get any of the noise. So perhaps I'll add a bit of drive here with this tube screamer. Yeah, there's nothing. And that bright sound translates well to drive, actually. So backtracking quickly, let's have a listen to what happens if I use this push-pull pot to add the neck pickup. So that gives us bridge and neck together, something you can only normally get on a Telecaster or a Les Paul or something. That always gets me playing pseudo country licks, that sound. It's a really legitimate extra sound to add. And if I just flick up to what would normally be the bridge and middle together, I've now got all three. And it's interesting to compare that. To compare that with it's an interesting hybrid of the two in-between positions somehow, and it does give, again, a very usable, stringy, twangy sound. So, what we also can do with this guitar is to use the bridge pickup and just roll off a little bit of the extra highs. And I've found on the Strat version, at least, that the tone controls are very gradual in their operation. So I'll demonstrate with a little bit of gain on from the tube screamer again. I'll just play an E chord so you can hear. As I roll the tone control back, it really does shut everything down by about 2 or 1. But before we get there, it's quite a subtle effect, shaving off some of the what people call the ice picky highs. That's about halfway. Now let's go all the way. So it really does shut off quite suddenly at the bottom of the controls travel, but I believe that the range of adjustment that you've got between 2 and 10 is a good trade-off. Same thing with the neck pickup. If you want to get a bit woody and jazzy, you can do the same kind of... put the volume up will help. That still sounds like a Strat, but it's just taken off the highs. It's a bit extreme, but it's nice to know you can go there if you want to. Right, so here's the Telecaster, finished in aged candy apple red. Let's talk briefly through the specs, not to give the Telecaster short shrift, but many of the specs are identical to the Strat. We have the same locking tuners here. We have the same modern C-shaped neck, though in this case, the truss rod is loaded through the back through this skunk stripe, as they're known. Got the same 12-inch radius board, 22 medium jumbo frets, but this is one-piece maple. Okay, with that slight overhang at the top where you've got the 22nd fret. The body is very much the standard Tele shape, though we do have the extra cutout here so that you can look down at it without it digging into your belly. That's the way it works for me anyway. Noiseless pickups again. We have 6 individual solid steel saddles, and that's difficult to say quickly, let me tell you, but you'll get better intonation. The theme with these Player Plus is a lot of the modifications that players have made over the years, Fender are now offering as standard in a modern guitar. One of those things actually that the Strat had, which I didn't mention, is a really high quality treble bleed. So when you are turning down from a distorted sound to get a cleaner jangle, then you don't lose as much top end. We'll demonstrate that in a moment. Again, we have a push-pull pot. Now on this guitar, it doesn't add the neck pickup. It puts these two pickups into series to give you a higher output sound. So perhaps it's time for me to play a few bits and pieces and let you hear these for yourself. So here's the neck pickup. Let's add a little bit of dirt with the tube screamer. No noise. So the sound's bright, but it's full. Now let's have a listen to both together. It sounds like a Telecaster to me. Now, if I pull this tone control up, then we get our series. Much more output and thickness. That's actually a really popular mod that people were doing on tellies for years, using a 4-position switch. Personally, I always found that a bit confusing in the heat of the moment, so I quite like the fact that you can very deliberately reach down. So you can really up the output there if you want to. Finally, the bridge. I'm actually being quite heavy-handed. This is a very light set of strings and a very straight neck, so I'm probably pinging it a bit more than maybe I should. Let's try a lighter touch. Having said that, a lot of people like that kind of snap. Let's add a bit of gain. So you can hear that snap cuts through with the distorted tone, but it doesn't make it thin. I was talking about the treble bleed, so let me show you that. It means you can just reduce the dirt a little bit with the guitar's volume control, but keep all the snap and the twang. Now, I think we should go through the pickup selections. You really hear that with some gain on it. I should talk briefly about the tone control. Like the Strat, we've got quite a gradual travel. And then it just closes off completely at the last kind of eighth of its travel. So there we have it.